So you young couples understand that just because your spouse reacts differently to a traumatic or emotional situation, it does not mean that they care less. Sometimes it just means that they're different and they process it differently, okay? You got two different people, and the more different that two people are, a lot of times the stronger the marriage will be of a relationship. I know that they're positive. I know that they are things that is hardwired in us to search for. But it's not something we gotta have. It's not something we have to have. And the hell that you go through with these relationships, just in order to have someone to sleep with from time to time, is not worth the destruction that it's doing to your soul and to your spirit, to your life. It's not worth it. I've told my wife for years, honey, if I was as tender and emotional as you are, our marriage would be shambles. Somebody has to be the strength. Somebody has to stay calm in the face of crisis. Somebody has to be able to clearly see what's going on, set their emotions aside, and deal with it, okay? And it's not a lack of caring. And I wish that she had understood that. Become your own man, making yourself a companion that you're comfortable with. Now that sounds kind of maybe not real mainstream, but if you had a friend, if you had a person you're going to sit down and spend all the time with, what would you want from that person? What would you want? Well, I would want to spend time with somebody who's honest. Makes sense? I don't want to spend time with somebody who's going to be lying to me all the time. Someone who's going to gently tell me the truth about myself. One of the hardest things sometimes for the human to do is get to the point where they stop lying to themselves, where they tell themselves the truth. They speak the truth to themselves. Now, if anything, it's more important for him to be treated with respect than it is for him to be treated like you like him. From his viewpoint, he needs to be treated with respect. You say, Dwayne, he's not very respectable. Well, a lot of times a young man will not become respectable until he's treated with respect. And he will like that feeling of being respected to the point that over time, if you give him the opportunity, he will mature and grow into that. But if you start out right off the bat as his wife, I don't respect you, he will never grow into that respect. And he will become resentful, because to a man, a lot of times being respected is more important than being liked. Okay? And there were times I didn't know what I was doing. I was a new husband and I was doing the best I could. And all I wanted was to be respected for my effort, for my try, for the burden that I had taken on. You got to face the reality of who you are. You got to face the reality of what you are. You're a man. You are a man. Stand up and be a man. Make the hard decisions. Make the sacrifices. Make the unpopular decisions. And become comfortable in your own skin. I wished she had understood that a man's baser physical tendencies, especially for a young man, are very important to him. It's very strong and it's very instantaneous. It's not always about candlelight dinners and sappy movies and hugs and cuddles. And sometimes for a man, sometimes it's just about one thing, and that's just the way he's wired, and there it is. And I'm sure on her side, she's going to say in her video she wishes that I had understood that women are crock pots and men are microwave ovens. But all right, let's just put it like that. I wish we had understood at the very beginning the difference in the physiology between a man and a woman when it comes to intimacy. I told her if she wanted a job, she could get a job. She could do, but if she wanted to stay home and be a homemaker, I would support her. I gave her the choice, and that's what she decided she wanted to do. So we divided things up accordingly. I got up every morning and I went and worked the job, and I was gone all day. When the oil needed changed in the car, I changed it. When we needed firewood for the wood stove, I went and got the firewood. I split the firewood. I built the fire. I kept the fire going in the stove. We were in Alaska when we got married. When there was a problem, I fixed it. Now, we were of the agreement, and again, it was just us, and we understood that that was my responsibility, and that was a major part of life. She never had to worry about where grocery money was coming from. She never had to worry about if the electric bill had been paid, if we were going to have a place to live. I carried all that burden. In return, the house was her kingdom. The house was her domain. She took care of the meals. She took care of the baby. She took care. Now, some of y'all, that makes your teeth hurt. That's okay. It worked for us, and that's what we like. But after working, but we developed a problem that's very common, very, very common in marriages. After being out all day, dealing with people all day, dealing with the weather all day, dealing with life all day, when I came home, I was tired. And I wasn't just physically tired, I was mentally tired. I was just tired. And all I wanted to do was just sit down and rest. I just wanted to just recuperate for the rest of the day. And she, and rightfully so, and I understand it now more than I did then, she was stuck in the house all day with laundry and dishes and meals and then eventually babies and this and that. And she was stuck in the house all day. So when I came home, I just wanted to sit down. I didn't want to go out, but she'd been in all day. She wanted to go out. And that was always a bit of a difficulty for us, you know? And so there were things I needed to understood, but I wished that she, as a young wife, she understood a little bit better how taxing, not just physically, but mentally and emotionally, 8-10 hours a day, 5, 6, 7 days a week out in the world, trying to make a living, trying to pay the bills and everything can be. We had a discussion one day, and I mean it was a discussion, it wasn't an argument. She would ask me, I would come home and she's like, what do you want for supper? What would you like? You want me to fry some chicken? You want me to make some hamburgers? You want some pizza? What do you want? And I came home one day and she asked me that, and I said, honey, I'm decisioned out. I mean, I've made 10,000 tiny decisions. I was working construction at the time. And I said, there's just decisions all day long, one after another. And I said, I don't want to make any more decisions. The house, you're the queen of the house. The kitchen is yours. And I love and understand your desire, you know, to make things as good for me as you can. But I don't want to make the decision on what we're having for supper tonight. On top of all the other decisions I had, I'm fried. I'm mentally fried. And I think maybe at the beginning, if that had been understood a bit more clearly, it could have saved, you know, a bit of stress. And there's nothing important there, no big deal there. I wish she had understood as a woman to a man that a man needs his time to just not think. Okay? There are people out there that describe this a whole lot better than I can. Women are like windows on a computer, and they've got 100 windows open, and they're all going at the same time, and they've got all this. And I cannot multitask. I do one thing at a time. And there's times when I close up all my boxes, I shut all my windows, I turn the computer off, and I just sit and I turn my brain off, and I just sit there and I don't think. And I don't need to think. I don't want to think. I just recharge. And there's a huge difference between men and women in that, and neither one is wrong. It's just nature. It's just the way it is. If you are not a person that you are comfortable being alone with, that is the one person in this universe that you have full power, full right, and full responsibility to change. Okay? I don't have the right I don't have the desire to, and I do not have the right to try to change my wife's personality and who she is. I don't have the right to change anybody except myself. Now, there's people out there I don't like, and if I don't like them, I just walk away. I'm 55 years old. I've done without that person my whole dang life. I don't need them now. And I don't have the right or the desire to try to change them. But if I don't like me, if I'm not comfortable being with me, well, that's a different story.